Hello, welcome to Standard British Accent training course. And we've got several courses, and this you can use for all of them. So I wanted to talk a bit about how best to utilize these courses to really get the most out of it. I highly recommend for the first time, just watch it all the way through. Just see what you notice when 100% of your attention is paying attention to not doing it and not talking at the same time where you can't really hear, but that you're just absorbing, you're watching. You can, move your mouth as if you're saying it also, but put yourself in a very receptive place and just take it all in. And then watch it back and pause. So, when I say something, pause it and say it yourself. If possible, get a recording software or something, or you've probably got one free on your computer or on your phone, or at least get a mirror. If all you've got is a phone, that's fine. Just get a mirror so that you can watch. But ideally, you'd want to be recording yourself side by side with me and with my partner, whoever I've got in, doing that recording. So watch the discernment between what I do and what they do, and then what you're doing yourself. So it's great to use a mirror. If you can record it, it's great because you can go back. And then what I highly recommend is when we're doing, say we work on one sound, do those sounds and watch it and record yourself, and then pause, go back and watch that one piece and do it again. And go back and watch that one piece and watch you and what you're doing and do it again. If you're not recording yourself, if you're just taking it in passively, it'll help. It'll be interesting and fun, but you won't really be sure. And if you're not really sure, then you aren't sure. And I can guarantee you, if you're not recording yourself, you're missing things. So do try and do that recording for yourself and watch it back. And then if you're not quite sure what's going on, slow down. On YouTube, you can do this thing in the gear, or even just do this in the beginning anyway, and you can change the playback speed, make it 3/4, so that you can see it slow down and you can really watch the shapes that we're making, and you can do those same shapes. Play it slowed down. You can do this with any YouTube video. So if you've got another source that you're using as well, or later, slow it down, listen to the difference, and then try and really stretch it out like that. When you're doing your stretching, make sure you don't chop it up, because that's not how we talk. We link it all together. So you want to get really good at stretching things out without making them big or choppy. Yeah, awesome. So another thing you can do is if you can record that then and just do the audio. Video and audio is way better because you can see it. But if you get to a point where you've just worked with the video a lot and you're really refining now, you can pull the audio, or if you're working with just an audio sample. I mean, these are really just things to do with any sample, but particularly for this. And then use the same bit, chop it up, so you've got 3 to 5 words, and throw it in your sound engineering software, which sounds really fancy, but I just mean GarageBand, or Audacity is free also, if you've got something that you can use, so that you can use it visually, and you can put a little piece in and then put a space, and you copy that little piece, and then you put a space the same size. This is what I do. Drop it in again, another space, drop it in again, good 6 times. And then you go through and you play, and you're listening very intently with headphones to this bit, and then you say it, and then you listen and you say it. And then sometimes you say it at the same time as the sample was me. And that, because then when you listen back, you'll see, oh, she was going, and I was going, And sometimes that difference means you're in a different country. It means now it suddenly sounds Irish. The difference between is it and is it. this much, and it's the difference between two countries. So it is very precise. You can choose to be excited about that precision. You can choose that, oh, let's see, Amy's a total nerd. Maybe I will be totally nerdy too, and I will just like love the fact that this is going to take time. If your audition is tomorrow, good luck. But if it is tomorrow, forget that it's tomorrow for a moment and decide, okay, I'm going to give myself 3 hours to just pay attention to the accent and go through this and pretend you've got all the time in the world and really slow down and be with those samples. Because if you're like, oh God, I've only got this much time, you're not going to be listening and you're not going to be changing yourself. You'll be doing it too fast to pay attention. So the number one thing that I'm teaching people is to sound simple, but pay attention throughout, even the entire word or syllable before you get to a sentence, because I guarantee you there is much more information on melody, tone, pronunciation, rhythm, stress happening in an entire sentence than you're able to completely pay attention to and articulate with intention at the moment if you're here. Yeah, so pick shorter pieces so that you can really pay attention to a lot of different layers of information, and then you build those up and you build your ability to pay attention to loads of information at once. Yeah, and it does get easier, but it does take time. So give yourself the gift of taking that time. And if it's an audition you really, really are excited about and you really, really want to impress the people in that room, but you're just starting for the first time on British, which hopefully your reps would never give you an audition that close that you haven't, for an accent that you haven't cultivated. But if it is, really think for yourself, would you be able to do the level of acting work that you would want to show somebody if you're bringing in the entire context of a culture in a couple of hours? Because there's a lot there, and you will be, if you're in, you know, LA or New York, you'll be going up against English people. So you know, sometimes it's okay to pass if that's too much. But hopefully you're doing this at a time when you have loads of time. You can just cultivate this and really give yourself the time. I mentioned that other thing, and I mentioned that it's okay to pass, not as a saying like that I'm doubting your abilities. I know you can do this. I know you can. That's why I'm here. But what I'm saying is, if you put a lot of pressure on yourself to be somewhere that you think you can get in a couple of hours and you haven't already built the ability to be able to do that, that's a really lot of pressure and expectation to put on yourself that is very uncommon. So it's not impossible, but it's a lot. So I'm only mentioning it so that you can have love and compassion for yourself and go, like, it's okay if you have to pass on something that you don't feel you'd be up to scratch on. That said, take the time, give yourself the gift of months, years to really, really learn how to do this accent, because it's so helpful. You'll use it for so many things if you like it, and the scripts that come out of England, which you must, or why would you be here? Then give yourself that treat of like, okay, this is going to be a dive for a while. And as I was saying, so then the other pieces, with those little pieces, you take your little bit, yeah, and then you build onto that, and then you do it together, and you see when you're doing it together, oh, whoops, is that bit gone back to the old way, or is this bit changed? You know, that's why you have to record yourself, because the most often people, they add bits on too quickly, they go through it too fast. It feels right to them because they're used to it, but if they're used to it, then it's the old thing. Yeah, so really cultivate giving yourself that attention and sort of sew back in little bits. If you add a bit here, and then you start back here at the top of the sentence and you notice yourself derailing over here, don't go back to the top of the sentence. I'm going to say that again. If this is the sentence and this is where you're going wrong, and this is the top of the sentence, just fix that little bit of track. Fix that there, and then go back to here and make sure you've got it. And then go back to here and make sure you've got it. And then go back to here. I'm doing this over years and years. I'm giving you this advice because most people go back here, and I guarantee you, they get here and it's back in the same way. And a lot of times they don't even notice. So record it so that you can notice, but save yourself a lot of time by just ironing out or fixing the train track. If it was a train track, fix the train track there, run the train over it a bit, make sure it's there, and then go back here and you'll have it. You want to get it at least 3 times in a row the way you want. That doesn't mean you'll have it the next time, tomorrow. That just means you're able to do it. If you just do it the once, it could be a complete fluke and you've got no idea how you did it. If you get it 3 times in a row, because normally it's 2 and then the third one's a bit off back to yesterday. If you get it 3 times in a row, that's a really good start. When I'm doing this, I work them hundreds of times. If I'm doing a voice match or I'm learning a new accent and it needs to be on, I do it hundreds of times. I tell you to do it 6. But if you want to really get to that place, do it hundreds of times. But don't just like do it. Do it at a pace where you're sure you're doing exactly what you want. So now that's a lot of information. Most importantly, also, check in with your structure, do a warm-up video, make sure that your face is really flexible and your voice is warmed up and you're really ready to go, just because it'll make it easier for you so you don't get stuck. We're all used to holding our mouths in particular postures that we don't even really notice. So yeah, thank you for coming. I love this accent. I'm really excited to share it. Thank you for all of you who've been asking for it for years, and here we go.